Imagine a misty forest path in the rugged hills of Konica in northern Greece, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of pine and earth. It's the early morning, and the lone figure walks along, with simple robes brushing against the undergrowth. He's carrying 2 loaves of prosphora, a sacred bread meant for the divine liturgy at a nearby chapel. This one is no ordinary traveler. He's Arsenios, later known as Saint Paisios, a monk whose life would become a tapestry of quiet miracles and profound humility. But on this day, something extraordinary unfolds. As he rounds a corner, 2 massive bears emerge from the shadows, their eyes gleaming with hunger, their massive forms blocking the way. Most men would freeze in terror, with hearts pounding, minds racing for escape. But Paisios poses, unflinching. He extended one hand, offering one of the 2 loaves. "You'll have to share this," he said calmly, as if addressing old friends, slicing it in 2 with steady hands. "The other one I cannot give you. It's for the church." The bears, the fierce guardians of the wild, didn't lounge or roar. Instead, they gently took their portions and fell into step beside him, escorting him all the way to the village edge like loyal companions. This was the fruit of a life steeped in purity, a heart so cleansed by prayer and love for Christ that even the beasts recognized him as their master, echoing the harmony of Eden before the fall. "Why don't animals harm the saints?" someone once asked him. Saint Paisios replied with his characteristic simplicity. "Once people are tamed by grace, the wild animals are tamed too. They recognize man as their rightful Lord." In paradise, before sin, the beasts licked the feet of Adam and Eve with reverence. And how does one return to that pre-fall state? "The heart must be purified," he said. "It must regain spiritual clarity. That's what the saints have. The divine grace that even animals sense and respect." This story, one of many from Paisios' life, draws us into the world of a modern saint whose existence breeds the ancient ascetic traditions of the Desert Fathers with the turmoil of the 20th century. Born in a time of upheaval, he navigated wars, exile, and personal trials, emerging as a beacon of hope for thousands of faithful Orthodox Christians. His life was a living narrative of divine encounters, where the veil between heaven and earth thinned. Through storytelling, we'll journey with him, from the dusty villages of Cappadocia to the sacred peaks of Mount Athos, hooking our hearts on the wonders that unfolded, much like those bears who walked peacefully by his side. In a world starved for authenticity, Paisios' tale reminds us that true power lies not in conquest but in surrender. Our story begins in the ancient lands of Cappadocia in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. There, Christianity's roots run deep, nourished by saints like Basil the Great and Gregory of Nyssa. It was here, in the village of Pharasa, that Arsenios Esnepidis entered the world on July 25, 1924. The air that day must have buzzed with the cries of a newborn and the prayers of his pious parents, Prodromos and Evlabia. Pharasa was a humble place. Its people were simple farmers and craftsmen, but their faith burned bright, like a flame passed down through generations. The family's spiritual guide was none other than Father Arsenios, a holy priest monk, later canonized as Saint Arsenios of Cappadocia. The saintly man, known for his miracles and prophecies, baptized the infant just days after birth, bestowing upon him his own name. "This child will become a monk," he foretold, as if peering into the boy's future. Little Arsenios, wrapped in swaddling clothes, couldn't know the weight of that prophecy, but it would shape his destiny. The Greco-Turkish War had ravaged the region, culminating in the 1923 population exchange, a forced migration that uprooted over 1 million Greeks from their ancestral homes. Arsenios was scarcely 2 weeks old when his family joined the exodus, fleeing with whatever they could carry: icons, heirlooms, and the unyielding Orthodox faith. The journey was grueling, a 400-mile trek across seas and mountains, marked by hunger, disease, and loss. Many perished, but the Snepidis family endured, guided perhaps by the prayers of their baptizing saint. They settled in Konitsa, a mountainous town in Epirus, northern Greece, where the Pindus range loomed like ancient guardians. Life on the Pindus range was extremely hard. Prodromos was forced to work as a farmer, and the Vlabia raised their children amid post-war poverty. Young Arsenios grew up in this harsh beauty, helping with chores and learning carpentry from his father, a skill that would later serve him well in monastic life. But even as a boy, his heart leaned toward the divine. He would sneak away to pray in hidden caves, fashioning crude crosses from wood, dreaming of the monastic calling that tugged at his soul. One childhood incident foreshadowed his future harmony with creation. As a lad, Arsenios found a wounded bird in the woods. Instead of ignoring it, he nursed it back to health, whispering prayers over its fragile form. When it finally flew away, he felt a quiet joy, as if God himself had smiled upon him. From childhood, I wanted to be a monk. I would read the lives of the saints and feel my heart leap. As Arsenios entered his teen years, the world darkened once more. The Great Depression lingered, and fascism brewed in Europe. But the boy remained focused on his goal, constantly reading spiritual books. His hands were always calloused from sawing wood, and he crafted not only furniture, but also icons and crosses, infusing each piece with prayer. Then came the Second World War. Greece fell under Axis occupation in 1941, and by 1945, at age 21, Arsenios was drafted into the Greek army. He served as a radio operator during the Greek Civil War, which was a brutal conflict pitting communists against royalists. Amid the chaos of battles and bombings, Arsenios' faith soared. He volunteered for dangerous missions to spare married comrades, saying, "Let me go. I have no family waiting for me." One harrowing night, shells rained down on their position. Arsenios huddled in a trance, praying fervently to the Theotokos. "Mother of God, protect us," he whispered. Miraculously, a bomb landed nearby but didn't explode. His comrades called it luck, but Saint Paisios knew it was the grace and protection of the Theotokos. The war tested him, forging resilience and humility. "In the army, I learned obedience. It's the foundation of monastic life," he said. Discharged in 1949, Arsenios returned to Konitsa, but the monastic pull was irresistible. He worked briefly as a carpenter, saving money and helping rebuild war-torn churches. During this time, he revisited local monasteries, tasting the ascetic life. In 1950, at age 26, he made the pilgrimage to Mount Athos, the holy mountain, a peninsula in northern Greece reserved for male monastics, where prayer had echoed for over a millennium. Mount Athos rose like a finger pointing towards heaven, its peak crowned by monasteries and hermitages. Arsenios arrived at the monastery of Esphigmenou, a stern, idiorhythmic community where monks lived somewhat independently. Here he became a novice, embracing poverty, chastity, and obedience. For 4 years, he labored in the kitchens and fields. His days was a rhythm of prayer and work. In 1954, he was censored a monk, receiving the name of Erkios. But seeking stricter discipline, he moved to the Philotheo monastery. Under Elder Simeon, a virtuous guide, Averkius delved deeper into Isihasm, the practice of inner stillness and the Jesus prayer. "Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner." Repeated ceaselessly, it purified the heart. 2 years later, in 1956, he took the small schema, becoming monk Paisios, named after a metropolitan from his homeland. Paisios means childlike, fitting for one who approached God with innocent trust. His asceticism intensified. He did fasting, vigils, and prostrations constantly. He slept on the floor, ate sparingly, and wrestled with temptations in the silence of his cell. But Paisios yearned for even greater solitude. In 1958, with blessings, he returned to Konica, settling at the ruined Stomio monastery near the Athos River. Here, he restored the buildings single-handedly, drawing pilgrims with his wisdom. It was during these years that the bear encounter occurred, a testament to his growing sanctity. Villagers whispered of other wonders, healings, and prophecies. Yet Paisios rejected attention, saying, "I'm just a sinner seeking mercy." In 1962, Paisios felt called to the biblical wilderness of Mount Sinai, where Moses received the commandments. He joined the monastery of St. Catherine, an ancient outpost amid barren peaks. Life was austere there, scorching days of the desert and freezing nights. The food? Minimal. Paisios lived in a cave, carving wooden icons for sustenance. His only companions were the stars and God. It was here that his bond with animals deepened. "When I was at Sinai," he recounted later, "I had 2 partridges. I was going through some sorrows, and they would come to keep me company. Whenever I went, they would follow. When I carved icons, they would perch on my shoulders. Once I fell ill and couldn't feed them. When I recovered and brought food, they waited until they saw me well before eating. They wouldn't touch it without me." These birds were not simple pets. They were the signs of restored creation. Saint Paisios treated them with tenderness and love, and they reciprocated, mirroring the paradise, where animals and humans coexisted in peace. His time at Mount Sinai honed his spiritual senses, teaching him that love tames even the wildest hearts. But health issues, recurrent hemorrhages in particular, forced him back to Athos in 1964. He settled at the city of Iviron, then Cappadocia, pushing his body to extremes. One night, exhausted from prayer, he collapsed, only to be revived by a vision of the Theotokos. "Continue, my child," she said. Strengthened by her presence, he pressed on. By 1968, Paisios moved to Stavronikita Monastery, aiding in its transition to Kenobitic life. His carpentry skills proved invaluable, but his true work was spiritual. Pilgrims sought him out constantly. He could read hearts, offering counsel that pierced like a gentle arrow. In 1979, he claimed his final hermitage, Panagouda, a humble cell near Kutlumushiu Monastery. Perched on a hillside, it became a magnet for souls in need. Despite failing health, Paisios received visitors daily. His door was always open. "Come, let's talk about God," he would say, and his eyes were always twinkling with joy. It was at Panagouda that many animal stories unfolded. One day, in his outdoor reception area, the Erchodariki, a group of pilgrims gathered. The air was alive with birdsong, especially nightingales. Their melodies were drowning out the conversation. Paisios noticed the distraction and addressed the birds directly. "Quiet down, blessed ones. You see, I have guests. When I'm done, you can start singing again." Instantly, the singing ceased, the birds perching silently on branches until the talk ended. The visitors were stunned, and their faith was ignited. "How? How did this happen?" they stammered. Saint Paisios shrugged. "They understand love." Another time, a massive snake slithered into view amid the crowd. Panic ensued, and one man grabbed a stone to kill the snake. "Don't harm it," Paisios interjected. "It's come to keep me company." Rising calmly, he offered the snake a water from a bowl. "Go now, friend. I have visitors." The serpent drank, then vanished into the grass, leaving everyone speechless. Even insects obeyed him. Once pilgrims arrived to find the Lukumi box swarming with ants. "It's infested," they said, disappointed. St. Paisios took a piece of Lukumi, set it aside and spoke to the ants. This is yours. Go eat it, and leave the rest for the people." Obediently, the ants filled out, clustering on their share, freeing the box. All this served a purpose. When a university professor visited, doubting God's existence, Paisios engaged him kindly. "You know, you're more foolish than a lizard," he said. Offended, the professor demanded proof. Saint Paisios called to a nearby lizard. "Come here." It scampered over. "Does God exist?" he asked. The lizard rose on hind legs, nodding affirmatively before darting away. The professor wept, and his skepticism about the presence of God instantly shattered. "Even the lizard knows," said Paisios softly. The man left transformed. Paisios explained, "Animals sense purity. When the heart is clean, they respond with trust." His life embodied this, drawing thousands of priests, lay people, and even atheists to Athos for guidance. As years passed, the body of Saint Paisios weakened. The hemorrhages plagued him, then colon cancer in the 1980s. He endured the surgeries without any complaint, viewing pain as purification. Suffering draws us closer to Christ, he thought. In 1993, the cancer spread. He moved to the Isihasterion of St. John the Theologian near Thessaloniki for treatment. Even bedridden, he consoled visitors. "Don't worry, God knows best." On July 12, 1994, at age 69, he reposed peacefully. His last words, a prayer. Buried at the convent, his grave became a pilgrimage site. Saint Paisios was canonized in 2015, and his legacy endures to this day. His books, Spiritual Counsels, offers timeless wisdom on humility. Be like a bee, gathering nectar from every flower. Love. Help others without expecting thanks. And prayer. The Jesus prayer is a weapon against despair. The life of Saint Paisios was a story of return to Eden's innocence, to Christ's embrace. Through exile, war, and wilderness, he wove a narrative of divine love where bears walked as friends and lizards testified to truth. In our fractured world, his tale hooks us, urging, "Purify your heart and watch creation respond." As he said, God is near. Just turn the dial to humility. May his prayers guide us home.